Hello! In today's video, we're going to introduce you to a new feature, a very useful feature called Table View. You can find it on every table located on the right side with our so-called Call to Action button related to the list. Before we dive into the details, let's explain what Table View entails. One of the challenges we face within our application is what's known as soft tables, or data found. For example, in ground and purchase orders, or goods received notes, where the corresponding items are located. Since this is a hierarchical view, we can't directly display on this table which numbers belong to ground or goods received note, because there can be one or more. Another example is payments, where we have multiple registered payments, and we cannot directly display this in the list because of the documents, hence the need for this soft view. That's why we've introduced the option called Table View. So in existing lists like purchase order or sales order lists or equivalent lists, we can see these soft documents displayed within the list. For one of these elements, we'll switch to the payments list, Table View Payment, and then based on this, we can see exactly for each document grouped by soft documents or soft transactions from the table view and subsequent tables. Specifically, in this purchase order case, we have 3 payments each with its respective differences. Here we have payment, 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 and a credit note. And based on this, we can see the list. Additionally, like all our lists, this can be filtered, sorted, and so on. With Table View, we have active filters here and can add shortcuts within that, and sums if there are applicable sums that are document-specific. So with Table View, we can also see the document when we return to Documents or in Themes to view items. A noteworthy aspect is that this list can be quite extensive, especially when dealing with large databases, which may impact performance. What's interesting is, aside from this classic ERP option, the possibility to reduce or collapse the table where we can see totals. Currently, totals are outlined separately within the table header or group header, allowing for simpler viewing when collapsing or expanding to avoid displaying empty values. Table View can be utilized on multiple levels. Specifically for items, the first level on items shows the basic level. But, for instance, Goods Received Note, as we've mentioned, allows us to view their goods received notes. In this particular part here, there are 2 such goods received notes within a single document, letting us see the relevant dates for them. There's also a third level, essentially. The first level is the purchase order. The second is the ground received note. There's a possibility for a third level, known as subgroups, to see the items. At that point, items associated with the goods received note will appear. In this case, we've inserted this serial number test item to display it within the list. We can easily find a serial number if needed through quick filtering in our table. This way, there's no need to directly access some reports, but based on this, we can group, search, and even actively use links to directly enter the goods received note or the purchase order. What's really interesting is if the list were exported to a spreadsheet, like Excel, it would display just as generated in those groups and subgroups accordingly. This is how the group would look in an Excel report, marked with its groups, subgroups, and depending on how we want to format it. In this particular case, it's shown in LibreOffice, and the same applies to other spreadsheet applications like OpenOffice, Google Sheets, and Microsoft Excel. They all support this data export. Again, it's important to note that due to performance considerations, this list can be quite large, especially if we're taking transactions over a year, which could significantly impact performance. But it depends on the user's needs. Essentially, this is a straightforward way to display options related to these goods received. Additionally, it's allowed to save the current view. For example, if we filter something, like only the invoiced purchase orders, we can make a Save Current View, or simply enter what's specified in sales orders. With Table View, we can also look at payments, specifically related to when payments were made. Here, it's organized around the last deposit in the document, showing that the deposit has been transferred to another document. In essence, Those are the basic functions related to this new feature.